brings me great pleasure to officially inaugurate the National Council on Privatization.
The mandate is one of commercialization, privatization, optimizing government investment.
Transaction failure is not as if it's because we have not prepared duly for it. So many external forces happen. So when things like that happens, we come back, we take a position. Where did it go wrong? Is it something that can be remedied immediately? Is it something that is really extraneous? Okay, we have a process of selecting core investors. We just don't sit down. We have to pass about 3 tests. As for us in the BPE, we follow due processes strictly.
Welcome to OTNA, your window to information on optimization. A nation only thrives and remains relevant when it adopts a dynamic approach that evolves and adapts to changing times. Our country, Nigeria, is in a time when evolving becomes very, very important. And the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, is determined to see a new Nigeria where everything is possible and where the people can grow and optimize everything around us. At the Bureau of Public Enterprises, BPE, it is believed that our nation Nigeria is alive and growing. However, much more is possible when privatization and commercialization transactions are enabled to thrive for the optimal benefit of all Nigerians. Glad to have you join us once again. Welcome. It's yet another edition of OTNA, Optimizing the Nation's Assets. What we do here is to trail the optimization process and how the Bureau of Public Enterprises work to ensure that our nation's assets are optimized through privatization and commercialization. Today on the program, we'll go to see some of the success stories of the work done leading to optimization of the nation's assets. Come with me as we go. OTNA, optimizing the nation's assets. The APM Terminals, known as APMT, leverages over half a century of experience developing and operating advanced ports and container terminals. But with the optimization as midwife by the Bureau of Public Enterprises, APM Terminals is now well on its way to becoming the world's best terminal company. And this will put our country, Nigeria, on the global map as one of the countries leading in this regard. APM Terminals are now constantly lifting the standards of customers' experience as each of their 60 strategic locations around the globe are working to ensure improvement. They are also lifting the standard of responsibility. Now let's hear from some critical stakeholders at the APMT. As we traverse the optimization of APM terminals, let's hear from Government Relations Manager of the APM Terminals to tell us what the APMT was before the Bureau of Public Enterprises came in for the optimization process.
APMT, as you know, we are APM Terminals, as we're a global port operator. And pre the concession in 2006, we had terminals across the globe in different parts of the world. So after we were invited to be part of the concession in 2006 and we won that bid, APMT was one of those successful concessionaires to run the Apapa Container Terminal in Lagos.
Now, Makinde Olufisayo, the Regional Data and Analytics Lead APMT, talks about what it was before and now post-concession.
I joined APM Terminals 2006, the very year the company started in Nigeria, just taking over the port from Nigerian Ports Authority. And I can tell you that then everything was manual, the entire port area was mushy, muddy. You can barely walk through without, having to wear your boots. Equipment were broken down everywhere. It was a complete mess then, I can say. But over the years, there has been a lot of improvement. APM Terminals taking over the port, being a multinational organization, has brought some best practice into how port operation is run. And in this regard, it covers different areas of the operation where you look at the equipment, the facilities, the people, the kind of standard that is brought into the way of working as an organization. And most importantly, it's how we have leveraged automation to improve and bring a lot of efficiency into the system. Back in the days, if you want to kind of load your container as an agent, you have to first look for the equipment operator, find a way to, everybody was walking through the terminal, but today we have systems doing everything. You just have to book for what you need to do and then send in your driver. We run a facility where we have zero tolerance for pedestrian activity in the entire port area.
The Government Relations Manager APMT shares his experience during the concession.
I'll say the process was a very, very good one. It was open, it was transparent, it was very, very professional. I still recall then during all the bid process, from the technical part to the financial part, government showed that they were ready to really do business. And I think that was part of the things that informed APM Terminals, that this private partnership that is being put together by the government, which BP was spearheading, it showed us that government was really serious for there to be the desired change in the port industry. So we had put together a team that were responsible for getting the concession. They had done a lot of feasibility studies. They had spoken to different business organizations in Nigeria to get an insight into the Nigerian port industry. And from there, a technical team was put together and they were able to submit a very robust bid to be part of the company that was going to take over one of the concessions. At that time, about 25 concessions were up for grabs. And after carrying out our due diligence and also having advice from our technical partners, and also it's interesting for you to know that APM Terminals, port operation is our core business. That is what we know how to do best. This is what we've been doing around the globe. We have terminals in the Middle East, we have terminals in Europe, we have terminals in North America, we have terminals in South America. So it's something that we really understand very well. And I think that gave us the edge, that gave us the ability to be able to put together a robust proposal that enabled us to be able to win this bid.
No doubt, transparency and accountability are very important in whatever we do as a nation. But remember that most people feel and believe that government has no business in business. And that looks true, because from what we've seen the Bureau of Public Enterprises do, turning these enterprises that can sustain themselves to become much better, it shows that the injection that the Bureau of Public Enterprises brings in certainly makes these companies and these MDAs much, much better. Well, let's hear what Kayode Daniels has to say.
I will say that the success that we've recorded in this terminal in the last 16 years, APM Terminal, it shows that with the right framework, that they actually a formula for public-private partnership, whereby if it is put together very well, it can actually yield the desired results.
Pointing out the optimization process in detail, the Government Relations Manager tells us about how the Bureau of Public Enterprises BPE handled the optimization process step by step.
So at that time, if we just go back in history, you will recollect the challenges that the Nigerian port system was facing at that time. And coupled with the fact that government was also not really buoyant, getting the required funds, resource to invest in the port was a huge tax. And I think it was nice for BPE to really come up to see how can we put together the right framework that will attract the right investment into the port industry. And not just attracted investment, but also expertise. You will agree with me that it's easy to just construct, to put structures in place and to buy equipment. But if you don't have the right expertise to run these facilities, you might not achieve the desired result. So I think it was a good exercise to ensure that professional terminal operators, global terminal operators like us, were given an opportunity to be part of this exercise. And today, I think the result speaks for itself.
The Bureau of Public Enterprises, BPE, charged with the overall responsibility of implementing the Nigerian policy on privatization and commercialization, is clearly leaving to her bidding. And not just for APMT, but the Bureau of Public Enterprises is also touching so many other organizations. And this is to bring you some of those success stories that happened in some other places.
I don't think that Nigeria is irredeemable. Nigeria is redeemable, and we have the expertise in-house. There's no sector of the economy you will not find Nigeria excelling, either in Nigeria or outside. It's a question of picking the proper team.
The nature of investment required in power sector is also among us. Government has tried also through some forms of guarantees to make sure there's a measure of liquidity in the system.
What service are these public enterprises giving? At what cost are they giving?
So what we do when we are dimensioning what should be our risk is to say, okay, which one is institutional, which is like strategic risk, which one is transactional, and which one are the normal process risk.
That BP has capacity, it has the required manpower to carry out reforms, and therefore, for me, BPE has a very important role in terms of advocacy, in terms of implementation.
We're intentionally creating an organization where innovation is the hub, is the natural energy that we generate on a daily basis.
We delve into handling, and I know the reason why. I believe handling is more, robust in the size. It's not carrying too much risk.
What we have realized in power is that, with the right tariff, you can give everybody power.
There are what we call essential indicators, there are complementary indicators. All of these are set out in the KPIs. Beyond the KPIs, we also have industry standard indicators that we also put on those.
And ensure that policies are consistent. Regulation must be consistent. You can't do this today, tomorrow you do this. So if investors don't have clarity, if you don't have clarity on what is happening in the industry, they will stay away.
Every country learns through doing where the pitfalls are, and you get better. So BP has had a lot of experience doing that. And that's why I say you're not going to find any agency in this country that's had the kind of experience that we've had.
OTNA, optimizing the nation's assets. Thanks for being there. This is OTNA, optimizing the nation's assets. The optimization process is certainly working, and the results speak for itself. So much has been done, and much more needs to be done. Now, we've been looking at the work done at the APMT. Now, let's look at the major changes and improvements through optimization at the APM Terminals. Mr. Kayode leads us through.
So one of the key things was that the concession had a very clearly state out conditions. There were steps to what was to be done, and also the timelines to achieve those actions in terms of investments, in terms of training, in terms of civil works, rehabilitation. So all these were clearly defined in the concession agreement. And I think that was what enabled us to be able to phase out our development plan. And within the stipulated time, we were able to even complete a lot of the things that we had promised to do in the concession agreement. And today I can tell you categorically that we've achieved more than almost 99% of the things we said we were going to do.
When we talk about changes, of course, they are practical. And Makinde Olufisayo, the Regional Data and Analytics Lead at the APMT, speaks about the changes in terms of technology at the APMT.
I would start off from the terminal operating system. At the initial phase, we have quite a lot of manual process in the whole operation. Now, everything is automated, from how the shipping lines transfer expected vessel information to the terminal operating system. We have the whole operation planned automatically on the system. So even before the container is discharged from the vessel, there's a precise location that it is known that it will be discharged into. And at the same time, everything is made visible also to the owners of the containers, to the shipping line. So we have real-time electronic data interchanges. So as containers are being discharged from the vessel, the shipping lines are getting the information via EDI. So EDI is an electronic data interchange file. And then, of course, customers also have visibility on web portals where they can track their containers real time. And aside from just reduction in human interference, there's a lot of safety improvements. Those days we have, record of fatalities due to man-machine interactions within the operational areas. Today we have completely cut off that because the exposure to risk is also out of the picture.
The challenges in the industry have been streamlined. Kayode Daniel says, as he shares how this optimization done by the BPE affects the day-to-day activities at the APMT.
One of the key things that we'll say we have been able to benefit really related with government is that they have helped to really streamline some of the challenges in the industry. For example, they put together very, very robust platforms for us to engage with the key stakeholders. And I think, that we have a large stakeholders within the port community. And government agencies are also being able to show that they set the right standards for us to operate. You also know that the port industry is also well regulated. Our tariffs and charges are moderated and being monitored by the required agency, which is Nigerian Shippers Council. And of course, NPA, as a technical regulator for the government, ensures that operational efficiency are upheld and are met at all times. And also there are regular monitorings by various government agencies which come here periodically, at least every quarter, to ensure that all the things, they check our operations, that we are meeting the right standards, that we're giving the Nigerian consumer port users the right services are being delivered to the teaming customers on a daily basis. So I think there has been a lot of collaboration between ourselves and the government agencies, which I think has helped us to be able to deliver the right results.
There's no doubt that technology advancement is necessary, not just in our day-to-day lives, but for a nation that wants to see its future where it should be. Now, a technologically driven company needs experts to handle its resources online and on site. Training is part of what the management does for staff at the APMT.
So one of the key advancements for us is we're a technological driven company. We use a lot of technology to deliver results. Pre-concession, a lot of the business activities were manual, but now we have introduced digitalization. All our processes are digitalized. Right now, our customers can interact with us without even leaving the comfort of their homes. More than 95% of our services can be accessed via a portal. So the customers can actually go on our online portal and be able to book our services, get paid, make payments, obtain receipts, book an appointment to examine their container, process their TDOs, send in their trucks. So the entire process landscape has been put on a digital platform, so which has now reduced the timing, the transaction time it takes for customers to be able to access their boxes. I think this is something that we introduced into the market and has really helped to drive efficiency.
Absolutely. I mean, we pride ourselves as an organization as having people as our most important asset. And that has translated into loads and loads of trainings. We even have the only center where we have live, training. We have trained even people outside Nigeria on the same devices, and this has greatly improved our operations and brought a lot of optimization into the processes.
Looking into the future and thinking about what more we can leverage with technology, the Regional Data and Analytics Lead at the APMT has a message, not just for us, but also generally to help us move our nation to where it should be.
I would say that it's quite a laudable initiative to keep improving different sectors in our economy by partnering with private sector. Well, I think over the years also we should get better as a nation to be able to run similar kind of initiatives as a country.
The optimization process is indeed a necessity, not just sale of assets, like what is generally thought by most people, but to ensure that we have optimization. Now, Kayode Daniels proves to us what the BP has done in optimization is really working.
It is purely optimization. Just to give you an instance, when we took over this facility, the capacity was about 250,000 TEUs. Today, we have increased that capacity to over 1 million TEUs. That shows you the capacity we have brought in for the Nigerian market. You and I know that the Nigerian market is largely a consumer market, so you need a modern port that can handle this kind of volume. And APMT has been able to stand and provide the necessary infrastructure, the necessary investment to ensure that we're able to support the volume of trade that comes in through Nigeria, especially through the Lagos port.
Like the flourishing palm tree, the gains of privatization and commercialization as midwifed by the Bureau of Public Enterprises, BPE, is clear for all to see. And hoping that more will be done, so together as a nation, we can say, Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. And it's not just for us to shine and only shine within ourselves, but also show the world that our country can work. And yes, it will. Well, that's it as we draw the curtains on this edition of OTNA today, optimizing the nation's assets. Our next edition promises to bring you more on the gains of privatization and commercialization, a trade the Bureau of Public Enterprises, BPE, has mastered in practice. Join us then next week as the process for a better, bigger, and brighter Nigeria is on course through the leadership of the current government. Till then, on behalf of the crew, my name is Tokwe Ojeme. It's bye for now. OTNA, optimization on the go.